Hey everyone, I'm Zach.
And I'm Tyler, and you're watching Bridging the Gap.
All right, well, Tyler, we have a special guest on tonight. We have our good friend, Sussex County Commissioner Jack Degroot.
How we doing?
Welcome onto the
Going
show.
on, Jack?
Yeah, excited to be a part of it. Thanks for inviting me on.
No, Tyler and I have been talking about having you on since we originally started up the idea. And being a fellow Sussex County boy, and Gen Z are with us, we definitely wanted to have you on because Bridging the Gap is supposed to be talking about politics and news and everything about New Jersey, but coming at it from our generation's perspective. So you were a no-brainer really to have you on. So
yeah, happy to join.
Jack, you've had a lot going on recently. You're engaged now. You just bought a house, and you're running for re-election. Do you sleep at all?
Sometimes, it depends on the season, right? So obviously you can imagine in the summer, it gets a little bit, crazy, especially when it's election season, it gets even more crazy. But, God is good. And I just walk on the path that he sets for me. And sometimes it's a lot of hours up, and sometimes, I get some sleep. So it's all good. It's all good.
Not to mention, you also are, you come from a family of dairy farmers, as well as you also have a full-time job as well.
Yeah. So I'm very blessed in the fact that I get to teach the next generation of engineers, scientists, architects, both at New Jersey Institute of Technology, NJIT, as well as across the street at Rutgers Newark. Whether it's calculus 1, pre-calc, statistics of all kind. I've had the opportunity to teach multiple classes, and it's really refreshing just to be with people our age, but also the next generation coming up and interacting and teaching them.
You haven't seen any Gen Alphas yet, right? I don't think they're old enough.
I don't think so. Hope not. I'm getting nervous. Every year, it's getting worse and worse.
Yeah, I know, Jack. A lot of what we've touched base here at Bridging the Gap is sort of, especially with America 250 here, what is the American dream? I mean, what is, with everything you've done so far in life, I mean, what is your American dream?
Yeah, I actually, I kind of think of scripture when I think of the American dream, resorting to Micah 4:4, believe it or not, which George Washington mentions quite a bit. It talks about everyone sitting under their own fig tree or vine. And kind of like what I'm doing now, I'm planting an apple orchard. I want to, be on my property. I want to be sitting there underneath my apple tree eating apples. And I think the American dream is your own ownership of land, family, and for myself, my belief in following Christ and doing all that I can to promote him and thanking him for the many blessings that he's had. So I could really describe it like that. Yeah.
Awesome. Jack, I believe that you are the youngest county commissioner in the state of New Jersey. Maybe not necessarily elected at the youngest age in history in New Jersey, but I know currently you are the youngest county commissioner in the state. And I was wondering, what made you want to run for office at such a young age?
Yeah, and it's such a fascinating journey that I really went on, from literally not being in politics at all to all of a sudden becoming a county commissioner. It's surreal. And thinking back, it started in New Hampshire when I was a graduate student, finishing up my graduate studies at the University of New Hampshire. And what really triggered me to get involved with politics was seeing someone our age get involved. And that person, believe it or not, was Caroline Leavitt, who was running for Congress in one of the two New Hampshire congressional districts. And I literally saw someone our age who looked like us, talked like us, walked like us, and was out and about, meeting people, talking about what she believed in. And that kind of put a fire in me to not be discouraged, but to actually go out and really have an understanding that I can do this. Unfortunately, she did not win that congressional race, but I think, as we all know, she's doing pretty well as the secretary. So that's, very interesting in itself. But seeing her do it really put a spirit in me. One thing led to another. I got to intern for Governor Sununu in the governor's office there, which was a whirlwind of an experience, just wealth of knowledge coming from him. Governor's office in New Hampshire, I should say, only has less than 20 people in it. So on a day-to-day basis, I was with him learning as much as I can. And from those two experiences, coming back home after graduating, being on the farm where everything literally started for me, I want to have an impact. Year after year, being at the farm stand, talking to constituents, hearing the concerns about overdevelopment, national parks coming in, affordability, insurance costs, you name it. I probably heard it firsthand from the residents of all 24 municipalities in Sussex County. I knew I didn't want to wait. This community gave so much to me. I wanted to give back in public service, and we decided to run. And it's about being a beacon of hope. It's about bringing upon change and doing what's right about the people. And that really inspired me to jump in.
That's great. I know you touched base on your family farm. I remember, I believe it was on the ballot last year, the year before, your Farmland Preservation Act. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so last election cycle, the Board of County Commissioners approved a referendum to extend the farmland preservation, open space, and recreation tax for another 10-year period. This has been going on for 2-3 decades now. It's been coming up on the referendum ballot, and I'm happy to report that last November, over 80% of people voted in favor. People want to see the farmland preservation, open space, recreation tax collected so that we can preserve our precious farmland. We can develop and enhance the experiences of our preserved open space. And I'm a big supporter of those initiatives. I'm happy to see that we have another 10-year period of supporting the program and supporting the local farmers.
That's great. Yeah, I know one thing with, New Jersey being the garden state, we really have that in Sussex County. I mean, you go up even from Andover, Greene, Newton, Wantage. I mean, we have farms all over. I mean, how do you think, I know obviously affordable housing is a big subject right now in New Jersey. How do you think that's going to affect some of our open space in Sussex County?
Yeah, it's very scary. From a county perspective, we have no legal responsibility in dictating, anything really affordable housing. But we do have some influence. We can support or not support different types of projects just with being on the Board of County Commissioners, but also with our regional studies and our county planning board. And then one of the most neglected parts is the water quality PAC, as it's called, board. That really just measures the water quality of a development project and everything associated with it. But to directly answer the question of affordable housing, I think it's something every town has to deal with, right? I mean, the problems in Sussex Borough and Andover Borough are different from what we see in Greene, Montague, Wantage, and in those communities that are agriculturally rich in soil and just land like a Wantage and Greene, they're going to have some tough times. They're going to have some tough times to figure out where they can place it, how they can meet the criteria that's been set. And for myself, I want to be proactive, and that's kind of what I've been doing with presenting opportunities of farmland preservation, right? So instead of building upon a farm, right, they could go somewhere else because that's been preserved. It's going to be preserved for the lifetime that we're all here. And yeah.
Yeah, Jack. I mean, I guess, with all the affordable housing coming up and on development, I guess at what point is it really about affordability? Because, I mean, we see it in, every town, every small town in New Jersey, we're getting all these mandates from the state about you have to put up a certain amount of affordable housing. But I guess at one point, is it really about affordability?
Yeah. Is affordability strictly inside of affordable housing? I don't think so, right? Because go to a grocery store, see what the price of a dozen eggs is, how much produce is, how much the price of meat. I mean, I could spend a whole hour talking to you guys about how the price of beef is skyrocketed, talking about specifically the markets and what baby calves, veal is going for. And if you think about how much that goes for, how much is a full steer going to go for? But get back to the point. I think, the municipalities and local government should be in control of their development, right? I'm a limited government kind of Republican. I think that, the locals know best. So your mayors, your councils, your committee men and women, they're going to know what's best for their community. The planning boards that they appoint or are on, they're going to dissect and understand where can we put affordable housing. And it's just one piece of the puzzle, kind of like I said. I mean, health insurance across New Jersey up 32%. I mean, for the county, we were 18%, but if you were on the state health insurance, you saw an increase of 32%, and that's insane. So affordable housing is one piece of the puzzle when we talk about affordability, but groceries, insurance, price of gas, I mean, it's all just hitting us all at once. And I know affordable housing is one of the easier topics to talk about when we get into, how do we make things affordable?
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, I know obviously, especially in New Jersey right now, it's tough being a young person in terms of trying to buy a house. Groceries are obviously going up, and like you were saying about healthcare costs as well. I mean, do you think New Jersey's sort of pushing out its next generation?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, you guys can speak for yourselves, but I know my high school graduating class, a few of us are still in the High Point region, Lafayette, Wantage, Sussex, Frankfort Township. People our age, they're moving to cities, they're moving into apartments, they're working jobs, and if it's not producing enough money to make ends meet, they're going to move to a different city. I've had friends that went down to Baltimore, went down to DC, went all the way down to Florida because just the affordability that's in the jobs that can be presented in those cities and states is a lot more appealing and gives them better options for how they want to live, where they want to live, and just a better quality of life. So yeah, 100%. I think New Jersey is pushing out our young people. There's no doubt about it. We're losing them to all the SEC universities. Everyone's going down south, and they're staying down south, plain and simple.
Yeah, that's what we're seeing. Just looking back to my high school class too. I got friends in Kentucky, friends in Arizona, friends out in Colorado. I mean, a lot of people my age are just starting to leave New Jersey, go to states with lower income tax, with better quality of life right now for young people. It's a tough world right now for us young guys, but we're sticking it out for the long haul.
Hey, absolutely. We have to. We can't leave, the home that we built here and our family's built, and New Jersey's home.
Oh, exactly. I mean, I have friends that are in Arkansas. I have friends that are they're everywhere. My best friend growing up from high school, he's out in Dallas, Texas now. It's they're moving to the Carolinas. They're moving to Florida. Where it's Gen Z as a whole, my understanding is leaving at the same rate, or at least a couple of years ago was that the 65 plus were leaving New Jersey. And so it's how do we combat that? How do we create those opportunities and be able to also keep the Garden State green at the end of the day? I personally think that a lot of, especially amongst our generation, we care about preserving the 3 feet of green that we have left in the most densely populated state in the country. And so it's how do we make that balance while also creating proper communities that we want to have and raise families in, which, all of us, I'm the only one here who's not publicly elected official on an actual council level or higher. However, I do work in policy, and, I know you guys see it firsthand in your political positions that you guys do of how do we develop our communities and how do we make those changes. Because, Sussex County is our slogan is people and nature together. Well, how do we keep that without increasing taxes to be $1 billion, for a square foot? So it's a hard balancing thing. It's something that our generation and a few generations after us are definitely going to have to figure out once we get the torch to bear of leadership in our county and become the majority. So I do go looking to the future as well, though, Jack. Right now, AI data centers are a big hot topic. I definitely would say in the state of New Jersey. A lot of conservatives and liberals are kind of weirdly similar to the wind farms. They kind of are holding hands against us in some ways. Some counties and towns are banning it, and others are, open to it as well. I believe right now we have 5 AI data centers in New Jersey. And so, they go into our larger grid. They do a lot of different things, similar to the warehouse issue, definitely would say in Sussex County. Have you heard any on the ground from the residents of Sussex about their feelings about a data center, or even I know you're connected to other county commissioners. Has anyone talked to you about that issue as a whole?
Yeah, AI data centers, hot new topic, kind of replacing the whole warehouse initiative for whatever reason. But on the ground, speaking with residents, it's the same as the warehouses, right? There's a lot of questions. How big is it? What's the square footage? What's the environmental impact? And I think that's a huge thing, especially with the AI data centers. We truly don't have a great understanding of what that environmental impact is because they are so new. As mentioned, if there is 5 in New Jersey, right? I mean, how long have they been here? What's the long-term impact environmentally? Water quality, right? I mean, if there's one coming in through Sussex County, it's going to go through that board and it's going to go through the county planning board at some point. As of right now, I know Sussex County, nothing's been on the radar. I know Warren County has been a target because of their border, right, to Pennsylvania, I-78. US 22, I-80, things like that were just highway warehousing. And they're looking to add AI data centers along those corridors. And yeah, Warren County came out and put out a ban. Sussex County, as of right now, nothing's presented to us. And we keep our eyes open, ears open, and prepare, in any way, shape, or form. But yeah.
I mean, they certainly do bring jobs to the area as well as long-term investments into the communities, possibly. You build anything. You look at Selective Insurance in Sussex. It was the top employer in the county for a long time. They built their headquarters here. And so, you build the community around these businesses and people are employed. I believe Selective is still I don't know if it still is the top employer in the county, but it's definitely one of the top employers. And so, you look at these businesses and how do we keep them in our area and, by growing business and having ratables and not have them leave New Jersey. AI data centers are a hot commodity topic, but, I know they've been highly contended in New Jersey, but this is still going to affect our grid no matter what, because of our grid extends from New Jersey down to borderline North Carolina to it's the entirety of Virginia, West Virginia. It goes into Ohio all the way out to Chicago. Whatever they build within this grid is going to affect us either way. So why are we not wanting to take in some of the, the tax revenue from the property taxes, as well as just the job creation that we'll have? I mean, it's going to have a lot of short-term construction growth. It'll have a lot of, short-term jobs, more than 18 months type thing. But long-term, you're going to need specialists for these people. You're going to need people to maintain them. You're going to need to build communities to help, grow these things. And so, if going into the environmental aspect of it, if they're able to be self-sustaining in a lot of ways, well, I feel like there's sometimes no-brainers because they're building a lot of them in Pennsylvania right now. And I believe that there's 11 of them right now in Loudoun County, Virginia. So that affects us. If they build a data center in Virginia, it affects our energy prices. So why aren't we, why aren't we coordinating on how do we, creating good policy to be able to tackle these issues? I know it's a hot topic in the New Jersey State Legislature right now as well. With the data center tariff bill that was just passed through this assembly. So we'll see where that goes.
And I think it really comes down to a project by project basis, right? What's the square footage? Where is it being located? Right? Is it going on farmland? Is it going on in a redeveloped lot that needs some love, right? And case by case, I think the municipality is going to be the one who knows best. I know I sat in on a Green Township meeting and they were presenting a ban on AI data centers. And I was like, holy smokes, I never knew this. And I just, happened to just attend the Wright Council meeting, and that was 2-3 months ago. So it's very interesting. So it's very, very interesting, what's moving among the municipalities in North New Jersey and Sussex County. And, I think from a case by case standpoint, the experts, the council, mayor really got to do their due diligence and do what's best for their community in the long run.
I want to go back to talking a little bit about some of the economic effects that we were talking about before. I know one of your other hobbies that you do is you dabble in real estate as well in New Jersey. And so I was wondering, even talking with colleagues or even yourself, why do you feel that some of New Jerseyans, or some of the reasons that, our generation and future generations are going to possibly get priced out of New Jersey?
There's quite a different, there's quite a bit of ways I could go with this. I think it's just accessibility, right? I mean, we are, no matter if you like it or not, next to New York City, right? Biggest city in the whole world. The accessibility of being next to New York, Wall Street, even Newark, I feel, is up and coming, walking around, teaching there. Again, being 2 hours away from Philadelphia, 4 hours away from Boston. I mean, we are in the perfect spot for being in a network of really money and pure, just real GDP that it has an effect. It has an effect. And the people that want to be here are going to buy. They're not going to care about the price. And, those are people out of state that are coming in. Those are people out of country coming in. And the people who grew up and were born and raised here, we're going to have to find a way to make ends meet. It's a really tough time. It's a really tough time coming out of college with, X amount of debt, if that occurs to you. Again, getting married, are you taking out a loan to get married, things like that. And so financial management from the individual, I think, there's some play there, but then I think just location all across New Jersey, whether it's south next to Philly, Camden, north, New York City. We're, I think, in one of the best locations in all of United States. So
no, I know everyone likes to hate on New Jersey. However, I do say we are a hot commodity when it comes to real estate, and when it comes to the best things in the world. We have everything where we live up. We have the mountains of New Jersey, but then we're an hour and a half away from Sandy Hook. So it's like, we have beaches. We're within 2 hours. We have the cities. We have everything you can think of in New Jersey, and even though we're out more in the rural area in Sussex, I definitely would say that, we're not lacking necessarily in food options either, which personally my favorite thing about New Jersey is that you can find whatever you want, wherever you want, pretty much.
I do think it's a bit of a migration, right? The people in the city are getting tired living in the city, or depending on the political, mayor at that time, they move out, right? And they come to Bergen County because why not? It's a great place. I'm like 15 minutes away from Fort Lee, George Washington Bridge. I get commute. And then those people in Bergen County are like, okay, let me sell and move to Morris County, because Morris County got a little bit more land, or let's go to Sussex County and get even larger land. Yeah, I have a little bit longer commute, an hour 15, hour 30, but I could do it. There's no problem. And I still get home at somewhat decent time. So it's kind of like every domino effect, and we're at the end. And from what I could see, a lot of my friends are now going to Pennsylvania, over to Milford, Dingman's Ferry, that way. So I don't know what happens after that if they go to Scranton, but
we'll see when the new train line opens up.
Yeah, that's in the works. So.
Oh man. Yeah, so Jack, obviously, we touched base. You're the youngest county commissioner. I know when you ran, I believe you were 24 or 23. I know you were a young
around there.
Yeah, young guy. So, what was it like for you, especially running and when you were first elected, being the youngest person walking into the room?
Oh man, it was just like not a culture shock or a punch in the face, but it really was surreal in the sense there's no one in the room that looks like me, talks like me, or just really is anything like me. But I take great pride in having that opportunity, to be in a room, to start a conversation, to learn from those that came before me at such a young age, right? I think each and every day we could, get educated in a realm of different ways, and especially in politics and government, the people that you meet, whether it's in the private sector, public sector, this department, that department, there's something each and every day I learn more about county government, state government, even borough, township, town government. It's very, very just rewarding in the sense educationally. And It's scary. It's definitely scary at first, taking that leap, right? But it's a leap of faith. It's trusting who you are, making sure you don't change based upon, the situation in the room, sticking to your core values. And at the end of the day, we're all people. We all have to live with one another. So why not just go out, talk, chat, learn, and be a positive, beacon of hope.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, like, I know when you ran for the first time in 2023, I remember you were in Stanhope walking around with Gene. I mean, were you intimidated your first time walking around? Did that scare you at all? Were you a little worried, nervous?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the first place I door knocked. I had a couple doors underneath my belt in Stanhope, but I think it might have been, if I had to remember, it was either Hopakon or maybe Sussex Borough, just to break the ice. And man, oh man, I never did anything like it before. I know in Sussex Borough and Wantage, to break the ice, I would say, hey, I'm your neighbor down the street with the farm. And they're like, I'm in Sussex Borough. How far is my neighbor? Just to break the ice. And I'm like, yeah, I'm down the street. So definitely some places were easier to door knock than others. When I went down to Hopakon, that was just like, oh my goodness, I'm 50 minutes away from home. Like, I'm Jack Degroot. I'm up in Wantage. May have heard Degroot Family Farms. That's us. Don't want to take too much of your time. Just want to introduce myself, but and get into the conversation. But it's intimidating. You face rejection. Rejection's never fun. Hey, I'm busy, or you're just not interested. Door slammed in your face. Nothing too crazy. Got into a little bit of a yelling match. Not me, him yelling at me for being on his property, not being the right political party, I guess. But it happens. You have highs, you have lows, and everything in between. You try to stay steady and think of the end goal at the end of the day. Why am I doing this, right? To win an election. But why am I winning that election? Because there's a purpose behind it. I'm looking to be that change for the county in XYZ way. And that's what kept me going, off 2, 3, 4 hours of sleep, knocking doors with a smile. And of course, Eugene down in Stanhope, great guy, took me around, introduced me, gave me a warm welcome to the amazing people of Stanhope. So door knocking's fun. Door knocking's fun. At first, a little scary, but at the end, and now, I'm ready to do it again. So.
Great. Yeah, I mean, obviously you're finishing up your last year of your first term. I mean, what was one of your biggest challenges you faced so far in this term?
Yeah, coming from coming from no elected official experience, just working in the governor's office, it was an educational curve, right? But I made sure that first month, 2 month, 3 month period, I was in that office as much as I could be, talking to all the department heads, talking with our county administrator, and learning just the core function of county government, what our services are, what departments are, and what are the capabilities that we could have to positively impact our residents. So I think educationally, for anyone who is running for office in whatever level, Board of Ed, town, county, state, you got to get educated. Doesn't mean you have to be totally educated before. You got to have an idea of what the office is. You got to have a purpose to run. But once you're in, you need to know your stuff. You need to know how to have an impact, and you need to be patient and trust that everything you're learning will come into play. And it does. It does. You don't know when it's going to come. Could be a random Wednesday night. Could be an 8 a.m. meeting on a Friday. But everything you learn comes into play. And I would say just coming in, being educated as much as you can, and just working and just meeting with as many people to understand the problems and finding solutions with colleagues on a board or whatever board committee you're on is the best thing to do. Just being in constant communication with the government itself, the board, and of course, the residents.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, you and I were two young Sussex County elected officials. I mean, what advice would you have for, other members our age to get involved and to potentially run for office in the future? What advice would you have for them?
Yeah, whatever stage, whatever elected position one's interested. Again, it comes down to education and your why. Why are you running for this office? What do you know about this office, right? Those are probably the two biggest questions you need to ask yourself when running. Governor Sununu gave me the best advice I still think to this day was if you're running for office to be someone, you're going to fail. You might be successful at first because you're in with the right people or you get lucky, right place, right time, right? But if you're running for office to be someone, you will eventually crash and burn. If you're running to make a change, you will be successful. People will see your authenticity. People will see that you're genuine, right? There's a problem, you're looking to solve it. That's why you're running, right? And you're passionate about it. So I think that's the two biggest things, right? Why are you running? What are you passionate about? And you got to know as much as you can about the position you're running for.
Great. Like, where do you think New Jersey's going to be in 10 years, and what kind of role do you think you're going to play for it? Governor Degroot or President Degroot?
I hope I'm around in 10 years, God is good. If you told me back in college that I would be back in my county as one of 5 county commissioners, if not the youngest county commissioner in the state of New Jersey currently, I'd probably brush you off and say, what is a county commissioner, right? But God is so good. And, 10 years, I'll be 37. I couldn't imagine where I would be. I know I'll be under an apple tree with my wife and hopefully a bunch of kids. I want to have a bunch of kids. But I'm always going to be involved in the community, whether it is as an elected official, whether it's on the farm, whether it's in the church where, my total all belief is in, my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. I'm going to serve him. I'm going to serve our community in whatever shape or form. If God's plan is to be governor, great. If it's to be president, I don't know, but it's a little polarized right now at that stage. But God is good. He's got a plan. He's sovereign. I'm trusting him in every way, shape, or form. And we'll take it day by day. First, got to win re-election in June and then November. So.
Oh, man. Look, I don't know if you ever feel this on the county level. I mean, I know it's more of like a state of Washington thing, but do you ever feel pressure to fall in line politically, like even at the level of the commissioners?
Yeah, and I think that's a great question because I truly believe, right, at a federal, at a state level, when you're casting votes amongst a big, group of people, that's when people think like, oh, they're going with their political party, right? But I think at all levels, I think Board of Ed, I think county commissioner, I think mayor, town council, it's sort of, right, are you with the group or are you not with the group? And at the county town level, right, there's not much partisan politics, right? We care about our roads, bridges, education, well, Sussex Tech and Community College for me. And it's challenging in some sense, right, to break away with maybe the group, right? But it comes down to what you ran on and what you believe in. If the group is not with the liking of where you're at, it's up to you to decide. Should I just, lose the battle and just go along for the ride? Or is this something I really care about? Is this something that I promised the constituent, the residents, the people who elected me that I would fight for? Then yeah, you got to break away. So I know my experience, I'm not worried about, going a different way. Again, it's county, so not as partisan, but breaking away just comes down to your belief in what you promised to the people, what you ran on, and just following through. At the end of the day, just following through.
Jack, we in Sussex, we have such an age range in our county commissioners. I think it's about 40, 50 years. Do you find that, and you guys all come from all different parts of the county, and for a county that, in one of 13 original colonies that, we stretch almost an hour, without traffic from tip to tip. Do you find it difficult sometimes to, almost break the barrier of, working with different people from across the county? Because like I always say that, we really split into 3 different sections. We have like I call it the civilized section. It's the Vernon to Hopac on the eastern border that borders like Passaic Morris area. And then we have kind of where you are in the center. It's almost the buffer zone, which is the farmland. And then we have the state parks and the national parks. But do you ever find that it's difficult sometimes? Because it's almost like we're in 3 different worlds in the county alone. Working with, residents and your fellow commissioners sometimes.
Yeah, I think where it stems from is right location, but also your life experiences, right? Did you grow up in the county? Did you have that experience here? What'd you do for work? For me, I'm on the farm. I grew up on the farm. I'm passionate on the farm. Perhaps there's people that grew up on the farm and left the farm, right? Now their perspective is a lot different from mine because they're not working on a farm anymore. They got a career in XYZ. So I think a lot of that has to do with it, really just your life experience. And while, yes, 27 years, 24 years when I started out isn't the typical resume of a elected official, well, it comes with perspectives that you may not have, right? It comes with the struggle of affordability for someone coming out of college. It comes from me, starting and expanding our farming operation on an ag sort of, basis. So it stems from your, life experience, and everyone on any board in any sort of government, state, federal, especially county, town, right, is going to differ in some way, shape, or form because we all experience different things.
Awesome. Jack, now it's time to get to the hard questions, as I always like to say. So, you're dairy. You grew up on a dairy farm. Obviously, milk products. Where's the best place to get ice cream?
Oh man, ice cream, such a tough one. Best place to get ice cream in Sussex County, and you can go to the farms, right? I'll shout out Green Valley in Wantage, Anderson Farms, Tranquility Farms down in Green. They're fabulous. But I also want to specify, and you got to go to the Sugar Shack. The Sugar Shack in all places is Stillwater. It's on Fairview Lake Road. Okay, you can look up the address, but it's a self-serve ice cream parlor, I guess you could say. And it's really neat. It's something unique. I love their ice cream. I love the soft serve. They got some varieties for being self-serve, but check them out. It's a cute setup. It's quiet. You get a nice drive out in Stillwater. Don't get lost. All right. It's very wooded. You go to Swartzwood Park afterwards. The Sugar Shack in Stillwater, Fairview Lake Road. Check them out.
And then one last question I'm going to ask at least, and this is always a very hotly contested thing to talk about, I know, in New Jersey in general, but also I have beef with this as well. Where's the best place you think to get bagels in Sussex County?
Oh, in Sussex County. Shoot.
Yeah, no, Sussex County. We're going to leave it to that.
Best place in Sussex County. Yeah, up Route 23, man. Hamburg Hot Bagels. I love Hamburg Hot Bagels. Great guy, busy, fabulous, never disappoints, never ever disappoints. A&B Bagels in Andover, I love them too. Can't go wrong with those two. Yeah, I'll stick with those two.
Those are good choices, but if you're ever up on the 206, you have to go to Firehouse Bagels. You have to.
Okay. Yeah.
Right on 206 by, I think it's the Frankfurt Fire Station. Phenomenal.
It's over by Blue Ridge.
Yep.
Yeah.
So good.
Okay. I gotta check them out. I haven't been.
Yeah, next time you're in the woods.
Yeah, next time you're up that way.
Yeah. I head south. A lot.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Jack, for joining us on this episode of Bridging the Gap. And everyone, if you're interested in more of our content, make sure you go follow us on TikTok and on Instagram at Bridging the Gap NJ and Bridging the Gap Jersey First. And we'll see you all in the next episode.